What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Sports Bible Podcast. I am Rishi, joined here by Rob. It's been a little bit of time. I went on vacation, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Very nice trip. I think Rob's over the Celtics loss. Um, I like that shirt, by the way. What is that?
It's Astro World. It's
Oh,
Travis.
do you like Travis Scott?
Yeah, I went to the show. I mean, for anybody who hates, this is something he would bring up, but anybody who hates the little scandal that he got in, I'm
Oh,
sorry. I, I just like
the
his gear.
concert with the
Yeah, I just like his gear and attire, and I'm into like tie-dye stuff, as you know. So like, I'm not as big as a fan as I once was in like 2018 when I was closer on the teenage side, but yeah. Um, I still like Travis hits, and I like his Astro World gear, of course, like
yeah.
many others.
I know we weren't planning on start. Oh, before we start, just like always, follow us on Instagram, TikTok. I always almost say Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Those three basically. YouTube on Sports Bible Pod. It's capital S, but Sports Bible Pod, one word. We're gonna post more TikToks. I know I've said that. Like it's basically like I'm copying and pasting that sentence, but we're gonna start posting shorts and clips on it. And tell your friends to follow at Sports Bible Pod. Also follow Rob's new TikTok at Rob Green NBA. I'll post it in the link below, as well as mine at Richie Dortis, link below. So we weren't going to start with this, but speaking of scandals,
We're waiting
so
for this. We've been
what?
waiting for this.
Yeah, so Judge Sue Robinson gave Deshaun Watson 6-game suspension, and now the NFL is appealing it, which is crazy to me because you see the Twitterverse when the 6-game suspension comes out. I'm like, all right, cool. He'll be back week 7. That's my reaction to it. In the back of my head, I know they can still appeal. You see the Twitterverse, that's too little. That's not enough. What he did, which okay, that's fine. And then you see that they are appealing, and the other side is like, why are you appealing? Why you have the judge? So it's like, it's based on whatever I guess your values are, which I guess people that devalue sexual assault, but in my case, I'm a Browns fan, but you can't really, you can't condone that type of action. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't respect that. You can't allow that. And if I'm the NFL, if that's me, probably a year is what I would do. Just based on, well, yeah, if it was me, I would do a year. But the one thing I will say is, why bring in the mediator if you were just going to appeal it anyway? Like that doesn't make sense to me because your whole goal of bringing this mediator in was to avoid you getting involved, and Goodell's still not getting involved. They appointed someone else. I'll look that up. I'll get the name right now, just so I can keep you guys updated. Who knows? By the time this comes out, there might be something like the appeal has to be in by Thursday at 9 a.m. So right now it's Wednesday at 5:30. So it would be done already. So among the reasons Goodell is assigned a designee, his name is Harvey. Peter C. Harvey. He's a former New Jersey Attorney General. Peter C. Harvey is Commissioner Roger Goodell's designee to hear the appeal of the disciplinary decision involving Deshaun Watson, per sources. That was Adam Schefter at August 4th, 3:57 p.m. If you want to go find that. Yeah, so from a football standpoint, obviously I want Deshaun Watson on the field, but I'm a human first. We're seeing what's going on in the NBA. We're not really going to get into that just because it's a very sensitive topic with Brittany Griner. But with Watson, so right now it's 6. I don't know what it's going to be. I feel like it's going to go to a year, which is probably the right thing to do anyway. Because even criminal, civil, whatever it is, something was wrong. Something went wrong. Something went sideways. You don't have 35 masseuses in however like a couple of years without question. Arian Foster went on a podcast. I forget which one it was, so I don't want to give any false credit. But he said I have three masseuses in my entire career. Arian Foster played around a decade. This guy had some 30 something in 3 years, 4 years. So We don't know. We're not in the room. It's a he said, she said. But all I know is that they all came out and said this, and you can only kind of go for their word and from what they say. So that's all I got on that. I don't really I don't condone that at all. So I would not be shocked if they gave him a year. But if they give him 6 games, there's a reason why they did, and it's a policy. They said they used the precedent of running back Ezekiel Elliott for the Cowboys for a couple years ago and quarterback Big Ben Roethlisberger long time ago. So there is a precedent, but there isn't a precedent because how many guys have had 30 masseuses in a couple years? But so, yeah, when it comes to that, I don't really know what they're going to do. But all I know is no matter what the decision is going to be, there's going to be a war zone on Twitter.
Yeah, of course. And that's just sports media in general as we know it. And,
Yeah.
Well said coming from the base Browns fan. I know it's just, you're right. Anything, it's a clearly lose situation from the beginning since this was first announced, and anything could have been on the table from a year, for multiple years. And you're going to get, people from every angle that have their own opinion to say, from the woman's point of view perspective, from, a Browns fan like you that might be more of a jerk off per se and not care about, first of all, the human's perspective and point of view. And of course, everyone wants to see Deshaun Watson on the field. It's like everyone wants to see Kyrie Irving on the court.
Yeah, if you just took off the off the field stuff and you just there's football. I've said this numerous times on this podcast to my friends, to my parents, uncles,
Comparing
whatever.
the two, right? Comparing the two players.
Not really that, but more of the fact that when the trade happened, I love Baker Mayfield. He's my favorite player. I'm gonna be not a Panthers fan, but I'm gonna root for the Panthers this year because he's on the team. But Deshaun Watson's a clear upgrade on the field. If he didn't have these incidents off the field, I 100% get it. And I'm the biggest Baker Mayfield fan outside of his family and people in Cleveland. And I completely understand why they did it. I understand they kind of botched it the way they handled the trade and stuff, but it's over with now. He's in Carolina, battling with Sam Darnold. I don't think it's much of a battle, but oh well. But when you take into consideration the off the field stuff and the fact that you gave him $230 million guaranteed, that makes it stickier and it makes it muddier. And that's not really. That's where I was I guess great player on the field, but he hasn't played in a year and a half now. So it's
hasn't earned it on the field.
He hasn't earned that trust yet. Especially he earned the trust for the Texans when he got the contract because none of the stuff was. It probably happened, but it wasn't out yet. But now it's out, and you still get that money. So what that's telling Deshaun Watson? Am I doing anything wrong? I'm still gonna get this money, and that's the wrong way to look at it, but it's the truth. If you're gonna get away with it, then it's not gonna stop some of these guys. And I hope for not his sake. I hope for women's sake that this doesn't happen again because that's not fair. It's not fair. It's wrong. It's more than frowned upon. It's illegal, and you can't do that, and you can't expect no consequences to happen. And a 6-game suspension, honestly, to me, feels like nothing's even happening. It feels kind of like you're covering a massive hole in a boat with Scotch tape.
Yeah, and
I don't mean to cut you off, but also the big thing is Calvin Ridley got a year for gambling.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say all the other, people.
One thing I will say with that, I get that. I would not criticize exactly that. I would criticize the precedent in place. I criticize that a sexual assault case or a domestic violence case gets less games than a gambling case. You can't blame Calvin Ridley specifically, and you can't blame the Deshaun Watson case specifically because Greg Hardy got less games than Calvin Ridley. Ray Rice, he never really played football again, so that's a bad idea. But Greg Hardy, Ben Roethlisberger, Deshaun Watson right now. They were getting less games than Calvin Ridley. Josh Gordon lost his entire career for cannabis, but that's because the precedent is different, which is unfair. I feel like the harshest one should be domestic violence. Like you would think so.
Yeah, and like it all. I was gonna like. I was literally gonna bring that up before. Yeah, Calvin Ridley, and like everyone's saying, like I saw. Everyone knows me bringing up the NBA and the things. I saw the DeMarcus Cousins meme in the interview when he's like, "It's ridiculous." Like talking about
the foul calls.
Yeah, and like it's true. Like for gambling and for sports betting, like yeah, it's not precedented for athletes. But
And I get why he got a year, because you can't have players in the NFL gambling on their own teams. He wasn't playing, so it's a little different, but imagine Tom Brady throwing a game in the Super Bowl when a lot of other people have money on this game and stakes and jobs on the line.
that's the point.
But that should be a year. Domestic violence should be more.
Yes,
That's the way I look at it. Like,
of course.
a PED, probably less, because you're only hurting yourself with PED.
Yeah.
Throwing a football game hurts multiple people. Domestic violence obviously hurts at least one other person. So when you do like PEDs or like illegal substances, that's you. So I get why that's less than a year. Like DeAndre Hopkins has 6 games. All right, it's not. I'm not gonna change my view on DeAndre Hopkins because of that. He's been a great football player. He's going to be a great football player when he comes back. Like, does that make sense? Like,
no, yeah. I mean,
I don't think you're like a coward. Like, that's a wrong word. Like Robinson Cano, he's probably a nice guy, but he used a little bit of steroids. He tried to get an edge. All right,
and it's
illegal, but people do it.
Yeah, it's all meant like whatever it is. Like some people's actions, like obviously with Deshaun, you could cut him out of this, but a lot of it's mental health, like whether it be marijuana, whether it be PEDs, whether it be
wait. Deshaun Watson or like marijuana?
No, I'm saying like a lot of the reasoning is for like athletes like mental issues and they think they need something.
For what Deshaun Watson did?
Like whether it be like THC or like
I thought you meant for what Deshaun Watson did.
No, I'm saying like you can cut him out.
Okay. I was gonna say no. No,
I totally agree with you. Like you have the right perspective of it. Like, yeah, he's the right talent. You want to see him on the field, but you see
it's bigger than football.
Yeah, and you see the comparisons compared to Calvin Ridley and how this was handled compared to others. But I will say this, Richard. We talked a lot about trading a heart and soul and a foundation that was already built, like the Baker for the superstar, like the Baker Mayfield situation, for example, and how I compared it to Isaiah Thomas and Kyrie Irving. But someone who won't be doing that is the Boston Celtics again. They will not be trading Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant. Now, you're going to say whatever you want about this. I obviously have both sides to it, both eyes. It's the best player in the world. All right? I'm not saying they do this and they get worse. That's not the case. And if you have him and Jason Tatum, or even if it was him and Jaylen Brown, which it wouldn't be, but him and Jason Tatum might be the best tandem in the world. I would agree with that. And it's just like, here's the thing, and it doesn't even need to be explained. What did I say to you when we talked about Brogdon almost a month ago through the summer vacation last pod? Is like this acquisition was better than mortgaging a future and a haul for Bradley Beal or Kevin Durant and giving up a lot of your heart and soul or 60% of the league's best starting lineup. Instead, you added, what did you need to win those 2 games? A playmaker who could score at a high level and be a leader, like who could help those 3 play make, like those 2, including Marcus, and a winger off the bench who can relieve the Jays so they don't have to play 40 minutes every playoff game. Like, Derek White, like we know, Derek White, Grant Williams, and Horford were all there in game one of the finals. But, like, where was White? White was looking like the best trade ever through the latter half of the postseason, like through the end of the Milwaukee series and the whole Heat series, and then through game one. Especially the one, I don't know, you probably don't remember, but the 1-3 he hit over Steph, like he just sized him up when we had
I
that
don't remember.
fourth quarter and nailed it. You'd laugh if I showed it to you now, but like, and he was looking like, and I still like Derek White a lot, obviously. And, you know, he is a great fit with his ties. And now he has built chemistry with us, but it's like, you didn't have that guy off the bench that's like, oh, shit, like so-and-so gave us 5 threes tonight off the bench, or so-and-so gave us X amount of points. I'm not acting like Gallinari is the best bench player ever. Then again, you do have Brogdon coming off the second unit too, but I'm not acting like Gallo is the best bench scorer ever. But, dude, he's a wing who could score over others with size, rebound, and shoot the lights out. He's averaged 16 points a game, I saw on StatMuse his last 4 years. Close to 40% from three. And he's someone like Danny Ainge, when he was here, he always wanted him. So, like, and he grew up a Celtic fan. Like, it's honestly a beautiful fit. That's the next blog I'm doing, truth be told. Been working on it the past few days, talking about him and where he fits. But, yeah, you didn't have to cash in these chips to get the star when you added the right fitting pieces to what already, arguably, besides the reigning champ Warriors, was the best team in the NBA and is the number one team in title odds and probably the deepest. You could argue the Clippers, but, like, so it comes down to this. You have arguably the best 25-year-old in Jaylen Brown in the league, one of the best, if not. I can't think of who else is. I think Booker's older now.
How old is Mitchell?
The best player, what?
I don't think he's better, but how old is Mitchell?
He's Tatum's age because he came out in 17.
So he's Jason Tatum's age?
I think he's Ingram's age. You could argue Ingram. Brown is.
He came in the same draft as Booker. Donovan Mitchell is... He's 25. Yeah, let's not trade Cam Reddish.
Yeah. We're
going to hold on to Cam Reddish.
One of the best 25-year-olds. Cam Reddish.
We got to hold on to Quentin Grimes, guys.
Cam Reddish is still on my dynasty team. I have those hopes, but
I gotta figure out that and join your league.
Yeah, I'll help you with it.
If you have a spot.
Yeah,
I have no idea how to do it, but I'm gonna have a lot of fun.
I'll start a new basketball league too. Like, I'll do one on ESPN or Yahoo, like you did. Like, I'll do one with you and your friends. But so, yeah, it's like you have one of the best 25-year-olds, one of the best young wings in the league, in Jaylen Brown, and he proved that all season, all finals. He was the Celtics' best player. You could even argue in the conference finals. It's like, again, all I think about is that opening night massacre that I went to, the double overtime game where he dropped nearly 50, and it was probably the best, coming from my favorite player, nonetheless, besides Marcus Smart, as you know, probably the best performance I've ever seen.
It was a loss, right?
In double overtime. I was getting heckled by New York Knicks fans. And
hey, you made the finals. I'm trading Julius Randle.
and Tatum shot like, I think he took 30 shots, but
he had a tough game.
That was what
he had a rough game.
Yeah, the worst I've ever seen him have. Rob Williams was awesome. I had my Dennis Schroeder highs. But no, it's like you're mortgaging a 10-plus year potential window for KD, who's a 3 to 5, if not maybe a little more, because knowing how much he loves the game. But he's going to be 34 in September as well. And, like, you're already the best team in the league, and you have arguably the best duo, and you're number one in odds, and you're super deep. And, like, you can beat the Warriors. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to get back. I never said that. Never once did summer.
There's not a lot of parity. There's more parity in the NBA than other leagues, though.
Yeah, like, you could beat the Warriors on the tough road back with these two pieces if you're healthy, especially with the experience game. Now, this is not a knock to Kevin Durant. It's not. Like, it's just, it makes sense. Like, Boston, one, it wouldn't be just him. And not for nothing, Woj reported it that night, like, 2 weeks ago or almost 2 weeks ago. But Windhurst was saying himself this was already a thing, and it just was resurfaced because it's just letting people know, like, Boston did make their push. They have the most assets. Jaylen Brown, Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart, your point guard, Derek White, and a first-round pick, and maybe another rotation guy. Like, you're giving up your heart. And, like, I saw someone, maybe it was, like, Broussard or someone was like, oh, like, give up Rob Williams with Marcus and Jaylen. Like, yeah, let's give up 70% of the best starting five in the league for a guy who's 34, Rich. And we just made the finals. But
best starting five in the league?
Again, you could say what you want to say about the Warriors. You really can. But I'm going defensively, and I'm going the Jays, Horford, Williams, Smart. But arguably the best five. You know what I'm saying?
Suns.
Yeah. Clippers, you can maybe say now, but you know what I mean? Arguably the best five. And it's just no point. And then there's going to be people that are like, when he's a free agent in 2 years, you know, he tweeted SMH. He liked the tweet saying Celtic fans don't appreciate JB enough. Like, yeah, he did that.
A lot could change in 2 years.
Yes.
Kyrie Irving proves it every day.
And it's funny, my one friend recently, he was like, all right, you're banking on them re-signing if you're saying 10-plus years. Like, I was like, okay. And I am, because they're homegrown, and they're both he was like, Kyrie said it too, but like, they're homegrown.
Okay. Kyrie Irving holds no precedence.
Yes.
You can't base anything someone else does on what Kyrie Irving does, because he is his own, like,
yes.
He does not care what happened before or what's going to happen after. He's going to do what he wants. And that's not like a knock on him. That's just the way he is.
And not to be mean, but in the words of my guy Bill Simmons, like, let's not compare Kyrie Irving to normal human beings. But like, so
yeah,
well, Kai's amazing. Can't wait to watch him play again. You know, we never shut up about him. But yeah, so Tatum did call himself in year 2. He said, I want to be the next Pierce. And Jaylen is upset because he loves Boston. And, you know, I wrote that story in the winter that's like, he made a difference. That's why they fell in love with him, because of his intelligence. He made a difference during the George Floyd thing in the time of social injustice. He makes the world a better place, makes Boston a better place, has his own store. He's the most loved Celtic besides Marcus Smart. And like I said, arguably the best player out of that class. He is now an all-around player and a very dominant one, probably top 20, like I've always said. And, like, he makes a difference in Boston, like, with his TED Talks, his education, his intelligence, his words, his, what's it called?
Wisdom?
That his, obviously, like, his voice and his strength, and just notice of, like, his mind. He's so intelligent in his mind of seeing where things are right or wrong in the world, and having his own voice to make the world a better place, like he did in his hometown, Georgia, with Malcolm Brogdon during the bubble, during that time of social injustice. But it's turned into a little bit of a rant. I'm sorry, but my point is like, that's why he's upset, is he's like, SMH, you know, we just proved the whole world wrong that this past winter, through the whole latter half and second half of the season, we've made the biggest stage and the finals, and we proved we're those two, and we're that team. And, like, still I'm hearing my name saying, you know, I should be packaged for another star, or I'm hearing my name in trade rumors. SMH, like, I love Boston. He loves it, and he's hungry for more, like every other star that's lost in the finals. And he obviously, like, yeah, like, I would, if I saw my name in rumors like that, I would like a tweet that said like Celtic fans disrespect JB too much, or I would tweet SMH when like, bro, I'm just saying the truth. Like we just proved the world wrong. Like this shouldn't be happening. And also with that intelligence, he understands. He understands it's the best player on the planet. And if Boston's going to be rumored to be in any framework of a superstar type of deal with Tatum being the untouchable, they know it's going to have to be the second best player on the team. And Jalen knows it's going to have to be him. But also, as I've said since December and January, Brad Stevens knows no one's getting those two. No one's getting Jalen
Just
Brown.
because the Nets want him doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Yes, and he would be a perfect net. And now,
Even though they did offer something though, right?
yeah, like, and it's obviously like we're talking because we obviously have been in like, Durant type of scenarios X amount of times over like a certain amount of years, as you know. And like, yeah, like who's Brooklyn going to want? It's just perfect common sense. And Jalen understands that. Like he's over it. And that's why there was reports that were like a couple days after they were like, oh, despite reports, like he still wants to be in Boston. Let's just get that straight. Like, yeah, because he's smart.
Unintended.
Marcus.
But so this is I'm going to ask you a couple questions. A point I'm going to make. So we agree if Jaylen Brown is traded, he's on a loan to the Celtics, to the Nets. It'd be him, picks, obviously, a big haul.
Marcus, Derek, whoever.
Yeah. Who's better, do you think, Kyrie Irving or Jason Tatum?
Jason.
Just quick. You think Jason's better? Okay.
Unbiased, Jason. And like I'm not making it seem like it's not an argument, but this past year solidified it.
Okay.
And like this past year made it that he's top 10.
Is it close? Do you think it's close?
Yeah, because Kyrie is obviously one of the best individuals we've seen play, but has he brought a team to the finals? Has he brought a team to the playoffs at 24? Has he led a team? And
has
he taken a historic route like this, like the way Celtics and Tatum has, even though Tatum didn't finish the job? But you know what I mean.
You're ruining my point, Rob. No, so I'm going to say KD with Kyrie. Okay, you can say he's better than Tatum. Oh, Tatum's better. Okay. KD and Kyrie. KD and Tatum, but the role players are now on the Nets with Brown and Kyrie. What would make KD and Tatum not get swept by those guys with Brown and Kyrie with those role players? Because the whole thing with the Nets is that they weren't deep. Like why would that make them a championship team if KD couldn't get it done with Kyrie?
Again, another unbiased answer.
You get what I'm saying, though? Like, they got swept.
I do.
They got swept.
I definitely see, but, like, it's just, like, I guess if we factor in more aspects, like, Boston's bench, I would say, even after a massive give up the house like that, I would argue Boston's bench with even a couple of youth pieces is better than Brooklyn's in what it was. But I would also factor in that, like, Tatum and Kevin also have a higher ceiling than K and Kai. Like, they could do more. Like, one of them's a wing that could be one of the best players ever and continue to grow on both sides, while Kyrie just won't play D. And you could argue the same about KD, but he does when it matters. And he knows what amazing basketball is. And, like, it's just a higher ceiling, I would say. But, yeah, like, so I wouldn't say swept. I would say lose in the first round. Yeah, like, okay. You're not, like, a super team.
Yeah, so that's the point with Brown for me, was that, like, there's no point in screwing that up.
Yeah.
Because you can't trust KD.
That's another thing.
Because would you rather take your shot on signing Brown in 2 years or signing KD in 2 years?
Exactly. And when, like, a year later, Kevin can want to go somewhere else or be unhappy when Jalen is Mr. Celtic, besides Marcus, perfects it to a T. And, yeah, like, that's – I just agree with Bobby Marks when he's like, oh, it would be the best duo ever. Like, I can't say he's wrong. But, like, this already has the opportunity to be with both Jays. And there's no ceiling here. And they're both all-around players. And, like, They both continue to amaze, especially Brown, considering what Tatum's potential already was when he came into the league compared to Brown's.
Yeah.
And like that's why I've always said, as you hear me say, I've never seen a player evolve the way he has and like perfect it and even exceed expectations to a T like that. And yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like you say, like it's like the Suns are not going to give up Devin Booker for him. You know, like it's just like that. And it's especially Boston, who like has a better team than the Suns. Now we can say today they do. And like it's just it does not make sense. Like you don't, especially when the point you made, which is the biggest, like you don't know Kevin's mindset. Kind of like you don't know Kyrie's.
Yeah. So I guess we can close the book on the Celtics right now. I just thought of something we could talk about because I'm thinking about like guys available and stuff. So one guy that like I don't care about, Carmelo Anthony. Those guys will get signed, veteran deals. Colin Sexton. Why? I don't understand how he hasn't been able to get any type of contract yet. Do you get that? I don't get why. I get he was hurt and stuff, but not a contract at all.
I've been saying the same thing to, every NBA media person and like all my friends, like it's the youth. And I think back to this one, like, all right, small point guard that like doesn't defend and like doesn't pass a lot. Like we've seen this.
Yeah, but he's still talented.
Yeah, and he's young. And like, what is he not going to improve? And like, yeah, I get it. They have Garland now, and they didn't have that situation. But any team should be like, oh, this is a good fit. Like this one specific performance, he went up against the Nets and Kyrie Irving the year after the bubble last season, not this past season, the season before, in like January, and had 40 plus in overtime.
I don't think that was the bubble. I think that was
the year after.
Yeah. Oh, you said okay.
He can explode is my point, and the potential is there to be a great scorer. And he put up at one point in that season, I think he put up like 25 or close to it. And I think he last put up 19 points a game. Like he's good. And I agree with you. Like, why not Utah? Why not, Charlotte wants Mitchell. But
I want Kemba Walker too. Did you see that?
Isaiah Thomas is better.
I take neither. Take neither at this point. But I'm looking up Colin Sexton right now. I got Heat could target free agent Colin Sexton. Mavs, Cavs talk Colin Sexton. That would make sense. So would the Heat. Wizards are interested in Colin Sexton. Okay, cool. It's probably got to do with the fact that that wants too much money, I guess, and he's not willing to come down on it. He's 23 years old. In 2021, he averaged 16 points a game. In his last healthy season, he averaged 24 points a game on 48% shooting. And he only averaged 4 assists, so he's more than capable of playing two guard.
And, like, that's not bad for a small point guard. Like, you saw IT. I mean, like, again, the game isn't trending that way that it was in 2017. But, like, we saw IT, he averaged, like, 4 assists as well. And, like, a player like Colin, it's only going to improve. He's explosive. And he's only going to, like, what is he, not going to put the work in? Like, he's shown he's a hard-nosed competitor and is that type of guy when it comes to improvement. Like, this all should be laughable to him. And, like, if I were him or if any athlete is in his mind, like, I'm sure they're ready to laugh when he does have that breakout and silencing performance.
Do you think a little bit of recency bias comes into play with him? Because Garland took off this year and Sexton was not here. And he's so young, so it's to the point where he hasn't really established himself yet. So it's almost like people wrote him off, even though he didn't play.
I do. Like, both ways, not just that.
And that's not saying Garland didn't improve, because Garland was great, and he might just end up being better than Sexton as a point guard.
Yes, I'll say that.
But that's not knocking Sexton, though.
No, it's not. It's not calling him bad. It's not calling him less than. But it's like recency bias in the view of the media. That's like there were reports of anonymous executives, Eastern Conference executives, GMs saying like, oh, like, the other team knows he's not going to pass. The other team knows he's not going to defend, or he will defend. Like I've seen some videos of him going Super Saiyan, going all out on that end, and I'm sure other NBA fans have as well. But they'll be like, oh, he won't pass. He'll be selfish. And I think that's
So are a
off.
million guys.
Yeah.
I'm saying not. I mean, it's probably got to be the fact of the money because he is more than talented enough to be in the NBA. And I don't think he's never going to get signed. I think eventually he'll get signed because NBA is a sport where like right now with like in football with Jimmy Garoppolo, like by the time he gets traded or signed somewhere, depending on if he gets released by the Niners, he's not going to be able to start right away because he's got to learn an entire playbook. In the NBA, it's basic concepts for the most part, and you just get more advanced as the year goes on or as you get deeper into your playbooks.
Yeah, and like the way executives or the media had already pinpointed it, that started off the recency bias, and then Sexton having the year he just, or Garland having the year he just had. It's like, all right, who's Sexton? And like that's why, like you could argue I've never seen a player written off like this before. I mean, like I have my IT, Kemba, but now Dennis, like they forget about him, and Kemba's worth it. You could argue a couple of those guys is worth it, but this guy's a kid, and he's getting given up on.
I was gonna say Oladipo, but he kept getting hurt, and he kind of hit his peak with the Pacers and hasn't really gotten back there yet. So yeah, I mean, from what I'm thinking of, I mean Dame, but he's established himself. I'm trying to think of a young guy that's been Zion.
Yeah, but like people, like I wouldn't say to the Sexton extent. Like, and with Oladipo, like he thinks he's all out, or all that. That's the thing. Like he has the confidence, like he is better than everyone else, and he's really not. But like, no, they obviously we know Zion and how he was written off, but like I wouldn't say like to the Sexton extent,
Well, because Sexton did, like we knew he was a great player, like, not a great player, a good player coming out of college, but he didn't have the global and national attention that Zion did. So Zion was established before anyone even picked up a basketball in the NBA just for his name. Sexton was a prospect, like most NBA draft picks are. It'd be like if Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker, if they would have gotten hurt after their first year. Not saying Colin Sexton is going to be that player, but they weren't blue chip prospects. They weren't number one picks. They were 12th, 13th overall, or even I think Sexton went what, top 10?
I think he was
7. I think 7. I don't know why that sounds familiar to me.
I think you might be right. Can't think of the exact number. It's inside the top 10.
8th. Damn.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe 9, but it's just that like. Yeah, Garland made it really easy to sweep under the rug. Like people were just like, all right, this was you were supposed to be. And like, the All-Star game was in Cleveland. He made an All-Star, and no one thought that
they made the playing game.
Yeah, and they were like Washington that we laughed at. They were a top 2 seed in the beginning of the year, and the Chicago. And like,
yeah, we talked about the Nets and the Bulls, and then there was Cleveland, and then it just kind of flopped with Miami and Boston.
Yeah, and it it was basically just like Milwaukee, I guess, as well. Brooklyn in the beginning of the year, which my one friend loves bringing up for Katie's injury, and it was just as the Celtics made their rise, like they were right there with the best of the bunch. But
okay, now getting some baseball talk for you guys. It's been a big week for baseball, obviously. Trade deadline. We're not going to get into all the moves, just the big one, and then focus on our favorite teams. We'll start with, you guys know, Juan Soto. Arguably the greatest hitter in the league. Well, best hitter in the league. Greatest hitter in the league sounds weird. When I think of greatest, the word greatest, I think of like history. When I think of best, I think of right now. Besides my point. Wow. I was a believer that he was going to get traded. I wasn't in the camp of, oh, he's going to sign. Like this, you turned down $440 million. There's got to be something very wrong with where you're at. And obviously, he didn't want to be in Washington anymore. He wanted to win, which can't blame him. Everyone wants to win. And the package they got back for him was Robert Hassel, Yarlin Susana, James Wood, I believe his name is, Luke Voigt, Mackenzie Gore, C.J. Abrams. If I'm forgetting someone, I'm going to put the trade in the middle. Wow. And the Padres also got Josh Bell back. So I thought that was enough for Soto. I thought they probably should have traded Bell separately, even if he was going to the Padres in a separate deal, or if you want to add him in, add some prospects or another major leaguer. This is a game changer for the Padres. Now their lineup, when Tatis gets back, it's going to be Tatis, Soto, Machado, somewhere in there. And then you have Josh Bell. They also got Brandon Drury at the deadline. Also, they got Josh Hader, which was the most sorcery thing I've ever seen from the Brewers. They traded their closer. And I get it. They get prospects back to make them better in the next couple of years. But you're in the division lead right now. Or you're close to it. Like, you're in the fight for a division in the NL Central. But a chance to win the World Series. Do I think they're going to win it? I don't know. I don't really know if they have enough offense. But, like, that didn't make sense to me, that trade. But regardless, the Padres, they're not going to catch the Dodgers because they're so far out. But come playoff time,
They seem to always swoop in too. Like they seem to always just like
yeah. But come playoff time, though, you want to face Tatis, Soto, and Machado, plus Bell, Cronenworth, Jurickson Profar's having a good year. Their pitching is good. Like, the Mets got crushed by them before Juan Soto.
yeah.
I don't
And
even
like
want to know now.
I'm not like, listen, I'm not throwing shade at the Yankees or Yankee fans. Like, if they don't win it this year, like, I know you could, say the Dodgers could argue your team if they keep this up, but it's like, man, like you obviously the other day just addressed everything you needed. Like,
Yeah.
Gallo, liability, at least still did it on the defensive
You're
end.
talking about the Yankees?
Yeah, Gallo,
Okay.
Benintendi, perfect replacement. He can hit on all levels.
Have you seen him since he's been there, though?
Yeah, media.
He's
my
one.
dad talking
He's
about
1 for 20 since he's become a Yankee. He's a true Red Sox.
and like he has previous success through seasons in the Bronx, and then I mean, like, I guess like Glaber, they were looking for calls, but like, what else were you gonna get? They got Montes, they got another arm. Now
They traded Montgomery, though.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
didn't get that.
maybe they just didn't trust them in the postseason, like kind of like Severino and kind of like
You trust him more than
high
me.
up
You trust more Jordan Montgomery or Domingo Herman?
Jordan.
Like, the thing I have with that was, I get you want that defensive center fielder in Harrison Bader. Aaron Hicks can still play center field. And if Hicks can play center, then you still have this depth pitcher in Montgomery, because a lot of people said, Dan O'Dowd on LA Network, I was watching the Deadline special. He said, I think they might be going for like a Pablo Lopez right now, like a big pitching move. And they didn't do anything. They just traded Montgomery. They're going to settle now for Cole. Severino's hurt right now. So Cole, Cortez, Montas, Severino, like I said, Severino's hurt, and Tyone, and Herman.
I was basically like,
you trust that?
yeah, and I was tying the two together because
I said Cole, right?
yes,
Cole, Montas, Cortez, Tyone, and Herman. That's their 5 right now.
I was tying in the two together because like I love like Yankee fans, unrealistic like my dad, or like just in general that are like, I'd maybe trade Judge like for Soto, like
That's not going to happen anyway. The Nationals aren't going to do that.
Appreciate what we have now because like, yeah, he's 30, but who gives a shit? Second of all,
But it's also the Nationals wouldn't take on Judge.
yeah, and like,
Yeah.
I don't think they would. Yeah, you don't swap. Like, I get it. Like,
Especially that the Nationals weren't going to sign him.
Yeah, and he still has 28 years, but like, what, you just get the best one, like the best young player in the league, or one of them at least, realistically. And then it's just I love that Aaron Hicks is still on the team. But
Yeah, with the Yankees though, they've played 500 ball now for 40 games. It feels like
the
so
month of July.
their pitching has come back to earth. Like Garrett Cole got shelled yesterday by the Mariners.
I was honestly gonna bring this up. I was gonna say like
You can go
not
on.
for nothing, that looked not a little glimpse of something like that, like what has happened in his Octobers, and
Yeah, like in big games. And I'll say this too. Yesterday, I'm looking at the lineup now. It was Adam Frazier, Jesse Winker, Eugenio Suarez, Carlos Santana, J.P. Crawford, Kyle Lewis, Jared Klenick, Luis Torrens, and Sam Haggerty. I said that very quickly. Doesn't matter. The point of it is Julio Rodriguez isn't in this lineup, and nor is Ty France. Both of their all-star hitters or offensive players. And they give 6 runs in the first inning. Jared Klenick, ex-Met, barely, but ex-Met, hit a 2-run homer. And I was thinking something the other day. They've been playing 500 ball, but they took 3 or 4 from the Royals. Sick. The Mets just took 2 or 3 from the Nationals. I don't care if they don't beat the Braves this weekend. If they don't beat the Braves this weekend, that National Series means nothing. But since the break, the Yankees, so the break was so 20 okay, 17 20.
Yeah.
What? So 17 so since the break, okay, they went Houston, Baltimore, Mets, Kansas City, Seattle. Okay. They won. Let's go back. They lost they got swept by Houston. They won the Orioles series. They lost the Mets series. They got swept by the Mets. They took 3 or 4 from the Kansas City. They lost 2 or 3 to Seattle. What's the pattern there? I know Baltimore is in it, but what's the pattern there?
It's we've seen this movie before.
They are 1-5. Is that right? 1-6 against teams over in the playoffs right now since the break. 1-6. Like I see it with the Mets. Like it's great they crushed the Nationals, but I'm more impressed that they swept the Yankees.
Yeah.
Like I want to beat the Padres as a Mets fan. I want to. Shit, I want to win all 5 this weekend, but we're not going to win all 5. I hope we win 3, but the Braves terrify me. But like the Yankees are at the point now, like I get their record and like be careful, like they're fine, but they have glaring holes and they keep losing to good teams. Like the Mets beat the Yankees, the Mets beat the Cardinals, the Mets beat the Giants aren't that good. They tied with they split with the Dodgers, the Mets. Right now they've beaten the Phillies a lot like this year so far. Even the Braves, it's been tough so far. I'm not jinxing anything, but it's been tough so far.
All the great
anything
teams.
can happen this weekend, but for as of right now, so I'm not jinxing anything. The Mets have been playing the Braves. It's been a good fight. But the Yankees, 2-5 against Houston? The only teams that the Mets haven't beaten is Houston and San Diego, which is I hate that.
And like, for all those Yankee fans or whoever that's like, oh, the Mets will come back to earth come June. Like now you're laughing because you're the one beating the best teams. And like, that was a little quick movie of Cole that we've seen come the fall time.
It's been twice this year he's done that.
And like I was listening to the Michael K show, and like people call up on the way back from the game, and they're like, why are we paying him this? Like after the first inning, like we just had, and I mean, like my team, the Boston Red Sox. I mean, like we thought they always sell. I would have, if Martinez went, I would have liked to have seen him on your team, if anyone. And like obviously, like Vasquez would have been cool. And,
I just want to make a quick point with the Yankees.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tampa Bay. Okay. The last time the Yankees won a series against a team that is currently in the playoff mix was they split with Houston, but they won the series against Tampa Bay they took 2 or 3 from Tampa Bay on June 20th, 22nd. So it's been a month and a week. So 5 weeks, make it 4 because of the All-Star break. A month You are the best team in baseball, apparently. I'm just stating facts. Like, I get why some Yankee fans are a little annoyed right now because you trade your depth pitcher. I know Jordan Montgomery isn't the greatest in the world, but your ace isn't pitching like an ace. That's just how it is. You know?
And like,
Go on. My rant is over.
no, I mean, like, I agree with you, and I'm happy you went on this because I'm happy the Mets are looking like the real
I am
team.
praying that they win all five against the Braves. That would be the greatest thing ever. But Braves are tough. Braves are tough.
Yeah, I watched like some of the DeGrom game with Andrew, and like obviously, like,
A rough game.
this is the time of year you've been waiting for, though, and like, you know, I'm just happy they're better than the Yanks. The past 40 games, like you said,
They beat the Yankees. I don't know if they're better than the Yankees. They
the
beat
past
them.
month, they're not bad.
Yeah.
The past month, and like we said, we usually see the Mets trend down while they trend up.
Yeah.
But now it's the opposite way around for how New York teams usually go. And like, hey, it could be Boston. You know, they were looking like they had some life. When July started, or like even some point in June, and when they were fighting for the playoffs, fighting for third, and now Baltimore and the rest of the AL East is just taking surge, and you know, just no pitching whatsoever, no bullpen.
The Yankees pit. You talk about Boston?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's just, yeah, like obviously the two biggest priorities, Devers and Bogarts, like we said in the past. They did a good job of like cleaning house yesterday. Like they gave some mixed signals that like there's not really a fire sale. Like they're still trying, but
There's only 3 out.
yeah.
And it's Tampa Bay and Toronto, so they're in your division.
I was gonna say 4, and like Hosmer is a guy they've always liked. They got the fantasy football hitter, and who else? I forget the catcher's name that they got, but I was checking.
They traded Christian Vasquez. Oh, they got Reese McGuire, who he got caught in public pleasuring himself.
That's how I know him. I was gonna say that name. I was like, that name sounds familiar.
Reese McGuire, yeah. I don't with Boston, I don't know what their plan was because they traded their catcher. They traded Jake Diekman, a reliever, and high leverage relievers are usually big this time of year. You know that, like playoffs. Chris Sale was basically a reliever, and Nate Eovaldi. In that, what year was that? 18.
Yes.
18? Yep. I'm looking at it now. They're 3 out. They're 500 record, but you trade for Eric Hosmer, but then you trade your catcher, then you trade for Tommy Pham. So like, you're kind of getting placeholders.
You're looking forward to next year potentially. That's another.
But
part.
You're getting placeholders rather than prospects. So it's like they're in a weird spot. I get not trading Devers and Bogarts though, only for the fact that once you trade them, you probably have burned that bridge, and you're not going to be able to re-sign them.
Yeah, like, you know, you trade Adrian Gonzalez and like whoever else they did that year. Crawford. I was about to say Carl Crawford to the Dodgers.
His son just got drafted.
Oh, really? That's different though. That's not like you could compare these two guys.
These guys are going to be like Devers more than Bogarts.
But, yeah, like I was going to say, like Devers, it's only been 5 years, but Bogarts has been around since 13, and like this is like becoming, you know, this is every Red Sox fan's favorite player. Like this is the Damon of this generation that they didn't want to see go, or like, who am I thinking of? Or Pedro, even. Like it's that lovely. The Lester was my favorite. Like we talked about him when he called it quits on the pod. Like it's that type of guys that you just don't want to see go out the door, and they don't want him. It's kind of just like Jalen. It's just like, dude, like give me some respect a little bit, you know? Like I've been arguably our best player for, you know, the past couple seasons, and like, no, you're right. You didn't get prospects. You kind of gave mixed signals. You gave like fill-ins, like you said, and I think I was texting you the other day. the Vasquez thing, man. Like that
Yeah,
even hit my heart. This is a guy that's played in huge games in that ballpark and has won them on his way to a World Series or even big playoff runs. And they're an hour away from the game, and the media is coming up to him to let him know he's clearly fighting off tears and emotions. And he just has to transfer clubhouses and walk across the hall.
that was crazy.
And the Red Sox PR guys just grabbed him. Like, yeah, like I felt for him, and like that's a lot of emotions there, especially for a guy that loved Boston and a city that loved him. And
Yeah,
like, I saw something about Gallo too that like he was
yeah, I
talking
saw that.
.com and he was like, in Texas, like I used to watch people get booed like this off the field. Now it's me. I have to live with the rest of my life. I know I was bad. And obviously he had good memories, but like, yeah, you do have to live with it the rest of your life. It's the best sports team ever. You batted 130. You were automatic strikeout. And you were a former
Yeah,
All-Star. It happened. Perform a little better.
I'm not a fan of booing, but I understand if you want to boo, go ahead. I don't like when people like say this guy like should like die and
He
stuff like
can't even
that.
show
Like,
face around there.
yeah, like I hate when people are like, oh, like why, like get out of town. Like this guy's still a human, so I wouldn't like I said. I hear people like, oh, like this guy should like jump off a bridge. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like it's baseball. But yeah, with Gallo, I don't really know. His swing is so weird and so glaring. His whole and strikeouts have become very prevalent nowadays. Like it's kind of okay if you strike out, I guess, but like Fernando Tatis strikes out 150 times a year, probably. Like I think he struck out like over 140 times last year, which is a lot in my opinion. And he was one of the best players in the league, and I can't argue it. It's just one. I think everyone talks about the approach. I get that. It's also these pitchers are throwing wiffle balls. So for reference, Fernando Tatis last year, I just picked him as a name. 153 strikeouts. He didn't lead the league. So there's guys striking out 200 times. Like, and that's Tatis, a great player. Um, but Gallo, I get what you're saying with Gallo.
Yeah. And like it's different when it's Tatis compared to him or Judge compared to him. And
Yeah,
it's like, dude, do something. That's all. Like, yeah, fielding, he was there, but like he was the one hole in the lineup. And yeah, and like they clearly survived it. Didn't matter. You got the best team in the league, and you found a perfect replacement who will kick out eventually. Sadly for both of us.
yeah. So moving on to the Mets now. I know a lot of Mets fans, like the gloom and doom, complaining about the trade deadline, and I'm gonna get into this last. But first off, Michael Givens, he hasn't given up a run before yesterday, where he gave up 5 runs. By the way, the Mets won this game, but 5 runs he gave up. He hasn't given up an earned run since June. Okay. Last time he gave up a run was an unearned run against the Mets. So, in full circle. So, give him a break. David Robertson. Everyone wanted him on the Mets. You know David Robertson is, right?
Yes.
Closer. Now in the Phillies.
Sweet home Alabama. He was the new instead of Sandman.
The Cubs wanted a pitching prospect, specifically back for Robertson. There was not one guy in the Mets system that they thought valued the same as Robertson. That's why they didn't get him. I didn't even know Raisel Iglesias was available, or else I would have liked him. But hindsight 2020, we get Michael Givens. That's fine. Next move. We got Darren Ruff and Daniel Vogelback and Tyler Naquin. 3 bats. People act like Tyler Naquin is Travis Jankowski's replacement who hasn't gotten a hit since May. That's an upgrade, I think. Daniel Vogelback is replacing Dom Smith, who hasn't hit a home run in over a calendar year. And Darren Ruff is replacing J.D. Davis, who I personally like, but he wasn't really striking the ball that hard. He wasn't making enough contact. Granted, he hit a home run today. Good for him. San Fran, close to home. I've lost that here. The Mets' OPS with DHs was below average. I don't know the exact number, but it was very low. Pretty sure it was in the 600s. If you take Darren Ruff's right-handed stats against lefties, it is an 887 OPS. If you take Daniel Vogelback's OPS against righties, it is a 918 OPS. That totals for a 903 OPS. For people that don't know what OPS is on base plus slugging. In my opinion, it's the best way to see. It's the best stat to judge a baseball player. The best players have good OPSs. Like Mike Trout's is always in the 970s. Guys have over 1,000. It's simple. Just add your on base percentage and your slugging percentage. Instead of giving you guys percentiles and stuff like that, which is more advanced, 903 OPS. You know who has an OPS of 903?
Who?
Pete Alonso is a 901. Jose Ramirez is a 918. You combine those two players and you're giving me that? And you're complaining that we didn't get Wilson Contreras because we didn't want to give up our farm? Or Trey Mancini, which I don't get why we didn't get him, to be honest, but we don't want to give up our farm for that guy. Or Josh Bell. Like, platooning is kind of in baseball a lot now when you can play two strengths. When you have guys to do it, you have to play towards your personnel in baseball nowadays. So I'm getting a player the caliber of Alonso if you took a rubber band and squished Darren Ruff and Daniel Vogelback. It's going to be a big rubber band, by the way, together. I don't know if you've seen the size of Daniel Vogelback. Big dude. Big dude.
Yeah.
You're getting that quality of player, which, by the way, is a higher OPS. Not saying they're better. Higher OPS of Nolan Arenado, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Josh Bell, Jose Altuve, and Mookie Betts. That's like 5 off the rip. Not saying they're better players. But when you play to their strengths, you get the production out of that spot every night. But people just see the names without doing real research and saying, why is this guy fit?
Moneyball gets on base.
Daniel Vogelback has a great eye. It was funny. I was with my girlfriend, and they showed on ESPN that Daniel Vogelback has the lowest swing rate in the league. It's like, I don't know what it is. It's like 50%, maybe. I don't even know what the number is. But, and actually, I'll look it up for you guys. Daniel Vogelback swing rate. Because it's super low. The StatCast is a good, go to Fangraphs. I like Fangraphs. It's good for, like, if you really want to, like, talk about baseball, like, articles and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's got a WOBA of 335, which is solid. His WAR is never going to be because his defense is bad. Yeah, he has an isolated power of over 200, which, if you know what that means, slugging minus average. It's like basically how much power you hit for without like hitting singles. He's according to WRC Plus, he's 25% better than league average, which is also a good way to judge it. I can't find his swing rate right now. Oh, here we go. His K rate is 24. Speed very low. All right, so I can't find his swing rate, so sorry about that. But anyway, oh wait, did I just find it? This is bothering me. Now I want to find this. All right, I can't find it. Anyway, so he's the lowest in the league. And my girlfriend goes, his job is to hit. Why doesn't he swing? I'm like, you got a point. But he's got a great eye. Darren Ruff hasn't played yet for the Mets, but I from watching him, I know he has power. So instead of seeing, we didn't get Wilson Contreras, which I want him to, look at what we did. Because in essence, Tyler Naquin was an upgrade over Jankowski. Daniel Vogelback was an upgrade over Dom Smith, and Darren Ruff is an upgrade over J.D. Davis. But people don't look at it that way. And that's all I got on the Mets.
I would have liked, some Red Sox friends to join you. But, yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know I just threw a lot of numbers at you, and I know you're more of a traditional numbers guy, but when you really look at them, I know people hate numbers.
I know what I mean. I'm not like – it is my second favorite sport. For the listeners out there.
Yeah.
Always my second favorite sport. It's not like basketball, of course, but, like, I've written plenty of MLB articles. I've written football articles. I've written lacrosse articles. Like, when you're in this business, you're in this business. Boom.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you can't – like, a lot of people give me slack. Not a lot of people. My brother gives me slack, like, about, like, these advanced stats. But you can't ignore them all the time. Like, OPS isn't an advanced stat. OPS is like it's a good because what is the difference of hitting a single unless you're driving and run? What's the difference of hitting a single or drawing a walk? You're still on first base. You know what I mean? Like,
Just the average looks good. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
yeah. So like that's my point though. Like I don't not value batting average. I do. If you hit 220, I don't love it unless you have 40 bombs and walk 100 times. Like there's like the guys hit 320 with no power and don't walk a lot. That's not as valuable to me as a guy that hits 280, gets on base a lot, hits a lot of homers, hits a lot of doubles. Like there's ways to value guys. Obviously, it also depends on the type of player you are. But
Nah,
anyway,
but like the
like
Billy route is the way to go. That's why it's my favorite book.
it's crazy though. People complain about advanced stats. The best players in the league still lead the league in those stats. Like WAR. Aaron Judge has the highest WAR in the league. I have no idea how to calculate WAR, but it seems to you see Judge, you see Machado, you see
Jokic
Otani, Trout, like
in the NBA about the VORP or whatever it was called. Like led the
yeah.
league and
Oh, the Raptor. He
whatever
led the
that
league.
even.
Jokic led the league in Raptor or something like that. Yeah, I don't know what that means. But it's just like if you understand advanced stats, I'm not saying you have to understand like what Sierra means or X wool bacon, which that's long and I saw the word bacon. Like hard hit percentage. That is a good gauge on if your player if that player is going to if he's going to like if he's going to improve or it's just like kind of fool's gold. Like you can see those type of things, and you know they have FIP now, which I don't really know. I don't understand. I think it's more of like fielding independent. But anyway, my point is trust the numbers you're seeing in front of you. Don't just be like, oh, I don't care. He's not Wilson Contreras. Like Darren Ruff has an 887 OPS against lefties. That's good. That's very good. You know,
Yeah.
Rafael Devers has an OPS around that. He's pretty damn good.
Hit a bomb the other night.
Yeah, but is that what we got?
Yeah, I guess so. We'll be back Saturday.
Yep, we'll be back Saturday. So this will be out tomorrow. So well, for you guys, it'll be out already. Um, like I said, subscribe, follow all our platforms. Also, I have an article coming about Jimmy G. I'll put it in the link below, or I'll put it in one of these corners. Actually, I can't put it in one of these corners. That's YouTube. I'll put it below. As well as Rob's, I'll have him send it over to me. And Cash, our latest podcast in the corners up there, Brian Winhurst.
It's
Yeah, but it's been a while. Thank you guys for being patient. We apologize. I know we keep saying we're gonna get it weekly, but we're really gonna make an effort to get it weekly this time.
it's now we're in the direction of the best time of the year for sports.
Yeah, because like right now it's just baseball, and as much as I love baseball, it's the only sport on. But then we got football coming up, basketball coming up, hockey if you like hockey, and obviously baseball playoffs. So, and we're out of school now, so we just have to go to work, come home, or if you guys really like us that much, we could just make us talking about sports our job. But that's a long way to go. Besides that, though, thank you guys. Give Rob your deepest condolences for the Celtics, and I'll see you guys later.
Later, my man. Later, guys. Yeah, we'll be back
GM.
Saturday. And yeah, keep a lookout for that Gallinari article.
Gotcha. All right. See you later.
Later, pal.